Okay guys, so we can open up After Effects and then you're going to bring in your image. In my case, it's going to be this image. I got it from Pixabay and I've already selected my project to be set to an HD TV 24 frames, if I'm not mistaken. And as you can see, this is my image. I'm going to change the position a little bit because I want to see that little moon there. Here we go. Okay, and now what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to separate this subject or this object of the paper plane to another layer, and we're going to do that by using masking and the pen tool. So you grab the pen tool here and you just roughly make a mask around your subject. This is it. I'm going to add some feather, like 1 pixel, and I'm going to add an expansion of 10 pixels. And once that's done, I'm going to duplicate this layer and I'm going to hide the top layer. And we go back to the layer beneath and we change the mask type to subtract. Very good. And once that's done, we're going to move into Content Ever Fill. If you can't see it here, then you can go to Window and you're going to click on Content Ever Fill and it will pop up. And you have to make sure that the fill method is surface and the range is the work area. What you can also do is change your timeline into frames instead of just time, and make sure that the layer that you're standing on, well, actually just make sure that your work area is not more than 1 frame. That's going to make sure that the Content Ever Fill is not going to take too much time, because otherwise it's if you make it like a very long timeline, then it can take a little bit longer. But in this case, because this is just a still picture, this is not necessary to take longer. So I actually shorten my work area to 1 frame and I stand on the first layer, or well, the layer down below, and then you click on Generate Fill Layer and it's done. As you can see, it disappeared. You can move it between the 2 layers and turn on your top layer. Very good. And after that, we're going to make sure I'm gonna change back the timeline to just time, and we're going to have to make sure that we make the work area a little bit longer. So I made it I changed it to 7 seconds, and then I'm going to stand on the fill layer and you click on the right mouse click, and then you do a time and freeze frame, and this way you can actually pull this until the end of your work area. Very good. And then afterwards you can stand on your fill and stand on your bottom layer and make a pre-composition of backgrounds. Very good. Here we go. And now we're going to have to think of what kind of movement we would like to add. So in my case, I think I'm gonna go with just like a zooming out effect. So we're going to add a virtual camera. New layer, new, and camera. This is good. And the camera appears, and you will have to change your view to 2 views horizontal. This is your camera, this is your paper plane and your background. And after that, you can change the 2 layers to 3D. And then we can add some camera movement. So in my case, you stand on camera, you push the key P and the position will pop up, and you can add a keyframe to it. And let's see how we would like to move this. I think I want to move it along the Z-axis, so it's going to add some depth. And then I think I'm gonna move in like this. Or actually, now that's too much. Okay, I think this is good enough. And then we're going to move to the end of the work area. And what is this? the end of the 7 seconds, and then we're going to add the second movement. Oh, sorry, the second position. Yeah, like this. So let's see what it got us. Okay, so this is like a pretty solid movement. It looks like we're moving or zooming out. And then we're going to add some movement to the little paper plane, which is going to go the following way. You're going to stand on your, I'm just going to move it, oh, it's going to rename it to paper plane, it's easier. And then we move back to the composition. Okay, and the paper plane, because in the beginning we're actually we're zooming out. So in the beginning it's the biggest, and the end of the sequence is going to be the smallest. We can also add some position change, but in the beginning at least it's going to be bigger. So we're going to add the keyframe to scale and then scale it up a little bit. And at the end of the sequence it's gonna be smaller, so we're going to change it and reduce the size, and then we're going to add a different position. So I want it to be closer to the moon, like this. And since I didn't add a starting position keyframe, then I also have to do that. So we're gonna go back and like this, just pull it down. You can actually see the movement, you can see the anchor point, how it's going to be. This seems fine. Okay, right, let's see what we've got. See, so this is a really flowy movement, but I think at the end I should actually scale it down a lot more. So I'm just gonna jump to the very last keyframe and scale it down to like something like this. Okay, so we've got our movement, and what you can also do is you can actually add like overlays to your footage to make it a little bit more lifelike. So in my case I got one MP4 from a website called I'm gonna link it down below, Cute Stock Footage. This is the one. So I'm just gonna bring it on top of all my layers, and I'm going to change the opacity so it adds a little bit of a light leak. Let's see what we've got. Okay, well guys, this is it. And there's also another tool you can use in order to make parallax movement on 2D photographs, and that's the puppet tool, but we're going to talk about it in the next tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm going to see you the next time. Goodbye.